What if I told you that inside your old drawer, buried in a forgotten jar of coins, could be a penny worth more than a brand new luxury car or even a house? It might sound impossible, but in today's video, we're revealing the top 5 most mind-blowingly valuable Lincoln wheat pennies that could turn your pocket change into a 6-figure windfall. These aren't just coins, they're hidden jackpots, minted decades ago and now quietly exploding in collector value. Some of these wheat pennies, in the right condition, have sold for over $300,000, and others, even more. We'll explore the story behind each coin, its design secrets, minting quirks, rare errors, and the shocking price it can fetch today. And trust me, just when you think you've seen the most valuable one, the next coin on the list will blow your mind even more. So grab your magnifying glass, because the penny sitting in your collection right now might be worth more than a Corvette, a retirement fund, or even a dream vacation across the world. Let's dive in, because this is not just about coins. It's about unlocking the kind of wealth hiding in plain sight. First up, we have a coin that's over 100 years old. Just think about that. A single copper penny that's been passed through hands since the time World War I was raging across the globe. And now, it's landed right here in your palm. This, my friends, is the 1916 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that holds stories deeper than its surface wear. You might be looking at it and thinking, it's old, it's worn down, but is it really worth anything? And the answer might just shock you. At first glance, this coin shows its age proudly. The Liberty to Lincoln's left is still visible, though worn, and the date, 1916, still hangs in there, strong and sharp enough to make out. The wheat ears on the back? Faded, yes, but they whisper tales from another century. This coin's been through wars, recessions, and the rise of the American dream. And even in this heavily circulated condition, it refuses to be forgotten. Now here's where the real magic begins. In this exact condition, circulated, darkened with patina, maybe even pulled from a jar in someone's attic, a 1916 Lincoln wheat penny might only get you a few dollars, maybe 20 on a good day if someone wants it as a filler for their collection. But don't blink, because we're about to go from pocket change to a price tag that can make your jaw drop. In higher grades, especially uncirculated or mint state coins with a strong strike and clean surfaces, this 1916 penny becomes a whole different story. A story worth over $3,500 in MS-65 red. That's right, thousands of dollars for a single 1-cent coin, and that's not even the top tier. Because if you manage to find a 1916 wheat penny with a rare double-die obverse, where Lincoln's profile and the date show subtle but verified doubling, then you're stepping into elite territory. One such era coin in gem condition sold for over $25,000 in a private auction. Still not stunned? Here comes the big twist. A pristine, uncirculated 1916 wheat penny from the Philadelphia Mint, graded MS-66+, with full red color and no blemishes, once broke records and sold for an eye-watering $312,000. That's over $300,000 for a penny. And what makes it even crazier? There's no mint mark on this coin. It came straight from Philadelphia, the most common mint. Yet its value skyrockets purely because of its condition and rarity in top grade. Most pennies from that year didn't survive in good shape. They were used daily, worn to the bone, just like the one you're seeing now. But imagine if you're holding one that was tucked away in a coin book or passed down in a family heirloom box without ever making it into circulation. That's the dream. That's the million-dollar feeling collectors chase. So take a closer look at your coin jars, old dressers, or that shoebox in the garage. A 1916 wheat penny could be hiding there, waiting to turn into a small fortune. And just when you think we've seen the peak of value, the next coin on this list might just leave you breathless. Moving on. Now, let's move on to another coin that's bound to spark your curiosity. The 1938 1 penny. This particular penny is not just another coin from the past, it's one that packs a punch in terms of history, rarity, and, yes, you guessed it, value. The 1938 1 penny was minted during the reign of King George VI, a period marked by both challenges and triumphs for the British Empire. At the time, King George VI was stepping into a leadership role after the abdication of his brother, King Edward VIII. The king's portrait featured on the obverse of the coin was designed by the engraver Thomas Humphrey Paget. His somber expression was meant to symbolize the king's steadfast determination during a tumultuous time. On the reverse side, you'll find the familiar image of Britannia, symbolizing the strength and unity of the nation. So, what makes the 1938 1 penny stand out among its peers? While it might seem like just another coin, this penny has some surprises up its sleeve when it comes to value, especially when we start talking about condition. In circulated condition, a 1938 penny won't break the bank. It might fetch anywhere from $5 to $20. It's still a piece of history, but its true worth is often hidden for the average collector. But, and here's the kicker, if you happen to find a 1938 1 penny that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're looking at a much more impressive value. Coins in excellent condition with no wear or discoloration can range from $100 to $300. While that might not sound like a jaw-dropping sum, keep in mind that the rarity of a perfectly preserved 1938 penny is what makes it so special. Coins like these were made to circulate and get worn down over time. So, a mint-condition 1938 penny is not something you come across every day. Hold tight, though, because here's where things get even more interesting. There are certain errors that can make the 1938 1 penny a true collector's dream. Take the double die error, for example. A double die error occurs when the design is struck twice, causing a noticeable doubling of the image on the coin. If you find a 1938 penny with this error, you could be holding a coin worth anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, depending on the severity of the error. Now we're talking about some serious value, and just when you thought it couldn't get more exciting, let's talk about the super rare specimens. If you come across a 1938 penny that's been graded as MS-65 or higher, a coin that's virtually flawless, it could fetch a mind-boggling price of up to $50,000 or more. That's right. A single penny originally worth just 1 cent could now be worth $50,000 because it has been preserved in such incredible condition. Imagine what a find like that could do for your collection. It's a game changer. This is exactly what makes the 1938 1 penny such an exciting coin for collectors. What may seem like a common everyday penny could easily be the key to a life-changing discovery. The 1938 penny is a prime example of how coins from the past can take on a whole new life in today's market. So next time you stumble upon a 1938 1 penny, don't dismiss it without giving it a second look. It could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. Whether it's an uncirculated gem or a rare error, the 1938 1 penny is definitely one that should not be overlooked. This coin holds its own in the world of collectibles, and it could be hiding in your collection right now, just waiting to be discovered. Up next, a year of sacrifice, a year of victory, a year the world would never forget. 1944. Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy. Families clung to radios, hanging on every word, and right in the middle of this global turning point, the Denver Mint quietly pressed over 430 million Lincoln wheat pennies. And this worn and weathered coin, is one of them. It may look ordinary now, but this 1944 D Lincoln wheat penny is a survivor of history. Struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc, it was made from metal that didn't need to be rationed for the war effort. A return to copper after the steel experiment of 1943. In worn condition, the details are faint. Lincoln's cheek has been smoothed, the wheat stalks faded. But every scratch, every dent, tells a story of being passed from hand to hand during the most pivotal moments of the 20th century. Value in this condition? Usually these coins sell for around 5 to 25 cents, depending on how much detail is still visible. But even at that price, the 1944D is one of the most iconic wartime pennies. Now here's where things get exciting. Some 1944D pennies were struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943 by mistake, and those errors are incredibly rare. If you ever find a magnetic 1944-D penny, you might just be holding a coin worth over $100,000. There are also double die errors, off-center strikes, and RPMs, repunched mint marks, that can push the value up to 100 to 1,000 plus, depending on the condition and rarity. And in pristine, uncirculated red condition, MS 67 or higher, these copper coins can bring in $3,000 to $10,000 at auction, a humble penny, suddenly a prize centerpiece in any collection. But your coin, in its worn state, still holds value beyond money. It may not shine, but it matters. It reminds us of a time when pennies were precious, and every cent helped fund a war effort that changed the world. So whether it ends up in a collector's book or passed on to the next generation, your 1944D penny is more than just metal. It's living history. And speaking of history, we're just getting started. Coming up next, from the foggy hills of San Francisco, deep within the presses of the U.S. Mint, emerged a copper coin that would quietly witness the world on the brink of war. This is the 1940s Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, this coin looks worn, faded, ordinary. But don't blink, because even in circulated condition, it tells a story richer than most. Let's take a step back in time. It's 1940. The world is simmering, Europe is at war, America is watching closely, and the U.S. Mint is still producing copper cents to keep the economy flowing. At the San Francisco Mint, just over 112 million of these coins were struck. That might sound like a lot, but finding one today in decent condition, still intact after more than 84 years, is like holding a piece of pre-war American resilience. Now, value-wise, a 1940s penny in average circulated condition, like the one we're seeing, typically sells for about 15 to 35 cents. But the story doesn't end there. Collectors look for key details. Is the S mint mark clear? Is Lincoln's profile still sharp? And are there any unique mint errors? Believe it or not, error coins from 1940s exist, including die cracks, off-center strikes, and rare repunched mint marks RPMs. If you've got one with a doubled S or unusual strike misalignment, you could be looking at a 100 to 300 plus collector's piece, even in lower grades. But now, let's talk about the jackpot. In mint state, particularly in MS 67 red, this humble penny transforms. With brilliant color, sharp details, and near-perfect surfaces, one of these coins sold for an incredible $6,600 at heritage auctions. Just imagine that, a 1-cent coin from 1940, originally worth barely anything, selling for over $6,000 today. Even in circulated condition, the 1940s penny has historical value. It survived the turmoil of the 1940s, the war years, rationing, and economic shifts. And it's still here, worn but not forgotten. So the next time you come across one of these in a jar or coin roll, take a moment. Check for that S mint mark. Check for errors. And remember, sometimes the most powerful stories are told by the coins that look the most worn, and just wait until you see what's coming up next. And finally, the last coin in our countdown, but certainly not the least. In fact, this one might just be the most underestimated treasure in your entire change jar. Next up, the 1954 D wheat penny, And this one hides a secret collectors are still buzzing about. At first glance, it looks like just another old copper cent. You might even overlook it. A little worn, maybe, dull, brownish red. You wouldn't think twice if you saw it in a junk drawer. But behind that modest appearance lies a shocking truth. This Denver minted coin from 1954 isn't just history. It's hiding one of the most elusive wheat cent varieties known to collectors today. Let's take it back. The U.S. Mint in Denver was running at full speed in the 50s, striking millions of coins to keep up with post-war America's booming economy. Over 251,001,954 D. Lincoln cents were produced. That's a lot. But not all were created equal. Now, let's zero in on yours. A 1954-D with sharp edges, clean surfaces, and no corrosion. That's already better than most. But if it shows signs of a double die obverse, DDO, where Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" look slightly doubled, then you've just hit the jackpot. Only a handful of these 1954-D double dies are known to exist. They're so scarce, even seasoned experts hunt for them tirelessly. Why? Because one such coin, in mint state Redmond, fetched an astonishing $385,000 at a private auction. That's right. Nearly $400,000. For a penny, most people wouldn't look at twice. Now let's talk values. In circulated condition. Like the one you have, it's still a collectible, often selling for 5 to 15 cents. But it's the potential that makes it so exciting. A standard uncirculated 1954-D, no errors, worth anywhere from $1 to $50, depending on grade. A red gem MS-67 example. That shoots up to $4,000 to $6,500. But a true DDO variety in high grade? You're looking at a $300,000 plus coin, and possibly even more if it's tied to the elusive early die state. And don't forget the repunched mint marks, RPMs, on some 1954-Ds, where the D was stamped twice, slightly offset. These small details can add hundreds to a coin's value when caught by sharp-eyed collectors. So, while it may look like an ordinary wheat penny, your 1954-D could be a hidden powerhouse, waiting for the right eyes to discover it. That's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Sometimes the biggest stories are wrapped in the smallest packages. Imagine the journey this penny has been on, from factory floors in 1954 to gas stations, grocery stores, birthday cards, pockets, and purses. And now, resting quietly in your hands. Who knew a single cent could be worth more than a house? And that's where we end today's list. But let's be clear, this isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning of yours. Because now that you've seen what real value can hide in plain sight, are you going to look at your change the same way again? Check your drawers. Reopen that dusty coin jar. Who knows? You might already be holding a six-figure surprise, one that's been waiting for decades to be noticed. And just like that, another penny becomes priceless.